Hey guys, Rojo Inc. here. Welcome to Crash Course in Economics. Today we'll be talking about Richard Nixon's economic policies from 1969 to 1974. We'll be covering topics such as affirmative action, stagflation, pop culture, and of course, the Watergate scandal.
So, affirmative action. What is affirmative action? Affirmative action is the policy of favoring members of a disadvantaged group who suffer or have suffered from discrimination within a culture. Often these groups are disadvantaged for historical reasons, such as oppression or slavery. Historically and internationally, support for affirmative action has sought to achieve goals such as bridging inequalities in unemployment, pay, increasing access to education, and promoting diversity. One of the first acts in 1972 was the Equal Employment Opportunity Act, laying the groundwork for affirmative action. In 1978, the Supreme Court ruled in Bakke v. University of California that the university could not use fixed quotas in making admission decisions, and the first of what would be many challenges to affirmative action. In 1980, the Supreme Court ruled in Fulilove v. Klutznick that modest quotas were reasonable, upholding a federal law that 15% of public funds be set aside for qualified minority contractors.
Alright, let's move to stagflation. Stagflation is a persistent high inflation rate combined with high unemployment and stagnant demand in a country's economy. In order to cure mild inflation, Richard Nixon imposed harmful wage price controls. These bypassed America's free market economy. Even worse, he ended the gold standard that tied the dollar's value to gold. This created a decade of stagflation. It was only cured by double-digit interest rates, causing the devastating 1981 recession. Another contribution to stagflation were the oil shocks. These were caused when the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, otherwise known as OPEC, placed an embargo on exporting oil in response to the United States helping Israel during the Yom Kippur War. After the embargo ended in March 1974, the price of oil rose from $3 to $12 globally. That's a lot of money. Now, Watergate. A break-in at the Democratic National Committee, the DNC, headquarters at the Watergate office complex in Washington, D.C. In 1972, the President Richard Nixon administration attempted to cover up the involvement of the Watergate scandal. As a result, the public lost trust in the government after the Senate decided to move to impeach the president. So the public lost their trust in the government, which led to less bonds being bought from the government, meaning less money to the federal central government.
Pop culture of the 70s. Some popular songs from the 70s include Staying Alive, I Will Survive, YMCA, My Sharona, and The Bohemian Rhapsody. Some popular movies from the 70s include Jaws, 1975, Star Wars, 1977, Rocky, 1976, Halloween, 1978, Superman, 1978, and Alien, 1979.
To continue the pop culture, the trending items were arcade games. One was the greatest, Atari, with games such as Pong and Pac-Man. Other popular things were toys, which were Barbie, Etch-a-Sketch, Lego, Tonka trucks, My Little Pony, Star Wars toys like this one, and Play-Doh, and most importantly, a Rubik's Cube. This isn't a cube. This isn't the cube either. This one is.
Alright, although since we did prove the Phillips Curve to be wrong, let's talk about the Phillips Curve. In 1968, the inflation rate was 4.7% and unemployment was 3.4%. In 1969, the inflation was 6.2% and unemployment was 3.5%. In 1970, 5.6 and 6.1. 1971, 3.3 and 6.0. Wait, did it just go down? Yes, it did, because Richard Nixon did implement some economic policies, especially fiscal spending, to try to bring inflation down, and it did seem to work, although unemployment did only go down by a little bit. In 1972, inflation rose to 3.4 and unemployment went down to 5.2. So you can see the Phillips curve is working in this place. In 1973, inflation rose from 3.4 to 8.7%, and unemployment went down to 4.9. However, 1974, inflation got into double digits, 12.3%, and unemployment rose from 4.9 to 7.2%. Now, let's take a step back. In 1968, one event that affected the economy was the federal raised rates. In 1969, well, Nixon took office, and the president being elected always affects the economy. In 1970, the United States got into a small recession. In 1971, the price of many wages were controlled. In 1972, stagflation, as we went over earlier. In 1973, the gold standard and the Vietnam War ended. And in 1974, the United States fell into a Great Recession. Not the Great Depression, but a Great Recession.
And to bring our crash course into a conclusion, although Richard Nixon is most remembered for the Watergate scandal and perhaps somewhat poor economic policies, we have to remember two things he said. One, prosperity without war requires action on three fronts. We must create more and better jobs. We must stop the rise in the cost of living. We must protect the dollar from attacks of international money speculators. And two, defeat doesn't finish a man. Quit does. A man is not finished when he's defeated. He's finished when he quits. Thank you for watching Crash Course Economics. Brought to you by Rojo Inc. Studios.
What can I say? I can't fit them all inside my OJ, so I just take half and bust them out. I get the rest of the key so he can shock the house. I said a M-A-S, a T-E-R, a G with a double E. I said I go by the M,
Keep that, please. Okay. I'm just gonna move, zoom in the camera over there, and a gas bubble. Alright, I'm not gonna stop that. I'm just gonna.
Who won that game?
No, but bring that plane.
Alright. 76, Halloween, 1978, Superman, 1978.
Alright, keep it.
Can we just take out the Superman?
Yeah, okay, so redo it. Just say Superman again, and...
Alright. Superman, 1978. Alien, 1979. Some popular...
Start from the movies. Start from movies.
Wait, can we keep that scene? Please,
Bloopers. Alright, so
We should keep all the bloopers.
yeah,
alright, just start from
You should make Angel do the repeat again and take my car out.
start from movies.
Movies? Alright. This is a long ass. Should I have stopped the video?
No.
Alright. Some popular games include the arcade
What are you
game
doing?
Pong.
No, don't say that. That's Angel stuff.
Oh, that's Angel stuff?
Yeah, so just stop that.